We speak now to Puseletso Mofokeng, Senior Forecaster at the South African Weather Service, to talk about the forecast this week. A very good evening to you, Puseletso, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So, as we mentioned, there have been record heavy rains recorded in some of the areas. I didn't mention places like Wentworth, even Virginia Airport, I believe that recorded 351 millimeters, King Shaka International Airport. So these are places that also experienced high levels of rain. Reports I'm seeing are that meteorologists are saying climatic conditions are responsible. In simple but perhaps technical terms, what are you seeing?
Well, basically, we have seen that rainfall. I think you are fully aware that last week on Thursday, we did issue a media release, which was the way to hype up the potential flooding that was to be expected across parts of South Africa. And of course, the date that we expected much of the activities was from the 8th, which was on Friday, to the 11th. However, noticing that the South African Weather Service work throughout 24 hours and every day. So every time when the new day come, we continue updating the forecast. So basically what happened is that we had a system called a cutoff low pressure system. So it was associated with a very deep low pressure on the surface. Now combine that with the Agalas current off the coast of KwaZulu-Natal. I think the Agalas current runs about 20 kilometers away from the coast. So with the onshore flow dipping or taking that moist conditions onto the land, that is why from time to time we see very high rainfall amounts, very much of high flooding. That's what we are seeing from time to time. This is because of that Agalas currents and the persistent onshore flow when it exists.
You know, a friend and I were having this conversation about what is normal and what isn't for this time in terms of season, what is regarded as the rainy season. So what have you noticed as weather experts? And if you can give us comparisons during various periods where we can now see that there's a stark difference. And when we talk to people who don't believe in climate change, that this is why we ought to.
I think that's a very brilliant question. I will try to split it up in terms of time scales. For instance, when we talk about climate change, they would have, I'm talking about those who are doing climate change, and we are very much aware of what they do, because we attend their presentations, we are involved in what they do. So basically what happens is that they would compare perhaps first 10 years with the second 10 years, with the third 10 years, and now see whether the events, the flooding events, the fire events, or any other type of events, be it snowfall, now they compare them in terms of frequency based on long-term seasons or long-term periods. So the climate change would have indicated, like they do all the time, that we are actually, as we move forward, we are going to see more and more of extreme weather. That is the climate change perspective. And then we also do issue what we call seasonal forecast. The seasonal forecast, we issue it from time to time. Earlier on, we were speaking with the disaster management. And as the South African Weather Service, we are actually issuing the seasonal forecast to the disaster management all the time. That is every 3 months, we actually give the forecast to the local municipalities, district municipalities, the metros, as well as the provincial government, including also the national. So those are the things that we do in terms of preparing, in terms of bringing about the forecast. But what I do, together with my colleagues, is to focus on day-to-day basis, which is why we issued the warning on Thursday. So basically, the lead times are different, which is why we issued the lead time or the media release on Thursday to indicate the potential flooding that is coming, which the climate change forecast will not actually specify which days. It will simply say it in a broad sense. But we actually specify which days.
Okay,
and then
so let's get into that, Puseletso. Let's get into that. Let's start with Friday, because we are going towards the Easter holiday period in South Africa. A lot of people had plans of traveling, and some of them, a great deal of them, had planned to travel into KwaZulu-Natal. So let's put up, there we go, on Friday. What are we looking at here? What are the expectations?
What we are seeing for KwaZulu-Natal is that we are going to have much of the province experiencing isolated 30% chance of showers and thunder showers. But in the extreme south, those areas, Mzimkhulu, Ugu, will see better chance, a 60% chance. And remembering that you already mentioned that there are extreme conditions that were recorded there. The ground is already oversaturated. Now, coming to Friday, that ground will still be wet. So that rainfall that we're expecting would produce a bit of flooding on Friday. It won't be as big as we had seen, but it will be just a little bit of flooding on Friday, and it will continue on to Saturday. So
all right, let's put up Saturday. Let's look at Saturday.
Chance of rainfall.
So let's focus on Saturday now, Puseletso.
So on Saturday, we are expecting a better chance of rainfall in KwaZulu-Natal. I think the chance will improve from 30 to 60. And that would mean that whatever conditions that we have experienced earlier, now we can see a repeat. Some areas are still going to see flooding. I've seen a lot of images, although I avoid them a lot because I was quite affected last year. So I really avoid these images. But you can see some of the images. As soon as we have that high amount of rainfall again, it won't be in the hundreds, but because the ground is oversaturated, we are going to see flooding from time to time or from place to place in KwaZulu-Natal. However, also you can see over the Free State, the Northwest, as well as Gauteng, there's an 80% chance of showers and thunder showers expected. At this stage, we aren't pointing out of any risk of flooding. However, closer to the time, we will issue the indication as to whether there may be flooding associated with that high chance of rainfall on Saturday.
All right, Sunday, Puseletso, what are we expecting?
On Sunday, similarly, I could simply say that the eastern provinces will see rainfall, but again, KZN will remain with a low chance of showers and thunder showers in the south, simply because the system will be moving eastwards. So the northern areas will actually see a higher chance of rainfall. Yes, there will be a better chance, there will be a less chance of rainfall on Sunday, but as I've indicated, we cannot rule the potential for flooding out, even if the amounts are low, because the ground is oversaturated. So these are the things that we're going to monitor. And even on Monday, we are going to see almost the same picture because the rainfall will remain mainly on the eastern provinces of the country.
Puseletso, just before we wrap up, I think it's good to also warn people of this. We're going towards the winter season, flu season. I saw a report saying that we could experience a greater or even worse flu outbreak than in previous years. Does your forecasting give you a sense of this? Is it going to be a colder winter than we're used to, and does that mean that we should look out for more severe flu bouts as well?
I would think because we are in the La Nina, the systems that we are experiencing, I think the question that you had with the friend was quite very important, because now you are asking as to which times are appropriate. When we have La Nina, we have an extended rainfall season. So it's like in 2019, but around this time we still had a heavy chance of rainfall, a lot of rainfall from time to time. This is because we're in the La Nina season. So because of La Nina, we're expecting these rain systems to actually continue moving over the country. And as we go into the winter season, of course it will be cold. Of course, maybe there would be additional cases of flu. But obviously, there's also a way to mitigate, in the sense that we could go to the doctors to give us the medication before the real winter starts. But certainly we are going for a very cold winter.
Puseletso, thank you so much. Much appreciated for your time and sharing those expertise with us. Puseletso Mofokeng, a senior forecaster at the South African Weather Services.